All right, welcome to another edition of Maximum Life. It's the brand new year edition. Now, today's broadcast, this teaching, this video is going to be centered around how you are going to be a better version of yourself in 2026 than you were in 2025. Not saying that 2025 was awful, but we're always progressively, line upon line, precept upon precept, we're always striving to get better because I've discovered there are two forces in this world that literally impacts your capacity to succeed in life. Both of them has a very significant impact on whether you're going to be successful in 2026 or not. Those two forces are inertia and entropy. Inertia says a thing in motion or body in motion remains in motion until it encounters a greater force and then it changes direction. So that's inertia. It just, whenever you're in a car and you make a left hand or a right hand turn, the moment you turn, your body begins to lean to the opposite direction. Why is that happening? It's happening because of inertia. Whatever motion, as you were traveling north and then you decide you want to travel east, well, inertia says, no, I want to continue to go north. But because the car is heavier than you are, eventually you're going to adjust and go east right along with the vehicle because that force is heavier than you are or greater than you are. But then the other is equally as dangerous because it's a force that's called entropy. Have you noticed that anything birthed into the earth is subject to death? Now, I know that's morbid, but it's a reality. Anything that comes into the earth realm is subject to death eventually. Now, hopefully, you live a long, extremely long and successful life. But the reality is with that, we are all going to have an entry date and an exit date. That's just keeping it real, okay? We are all going to have an entrance date and an exit date, a date that you were born and a date that you die. Now, what makes it consequential is, what does that dash in the middle mean? What does it stand for? Your birth date is relevant, your death date relevant. But what's more relevant is, what did you leave? That's what that dash in the middle means. It means you left a legacy. You left a signature in the earth that will identify who you were and what impact you had in the earth on your family, your friends, your co-workers, etc., etc. So those two forces, entropy means that anything birthed into the earth is going to die if left to itself, if you do nothing. Another example, if you buy a brand new car and you put that brand new car inside of your garage, you even cover it up with a nice cloth. But guess what? If you never drive it, you never maintain it, eventually it begins to decay. So anything in the earth ultimately is going to decay. Okay? It's going to decay, in many cases die. So now, how does that relate to us being a better and a more improved version of ourselves in 2026? It's this way. Number one, in order for you to change your existence, there's some things that has to change, because right now, all of us, that's including myself, we are on a path, and I will call it an inertia path, a path. An inertia path is, that means that we've been doing a certain thing a certain way for a certain length of time, and we get used to doing it that way. Now, what's going to have an impact on the future is how we adjust to those issues that we're confronted with along our path. But again, if you do nothing, then the law of entropy takes effect and you still decay. So we have to change in our mind. If we want to change our direction of our lives, we have to change in the direction of our mindset. And again, of course, it may seem unfair, it may seem so hard that, very few people can do it, but it is something that is a reality, that if you do nothing, you are guaranteed to decay. Decay in your relationships, decay in your marriage, decay in your finances. If you don't do anything, you just say, hey, I'm just going to opt out. I'm going to relax. I've got enough saved up, and maybe you do have enough saved up that may carry you through the 2026. But guess what? Each and every day, that which you saved up is being depleted. And unless you have something to restore what has been depleted, eventually you're going to run out. So those are the two forces we got to contend with in this new year. Inertia, a body in motion tends to want to stay in motion. You're resistant to change. You're resistant to new ideas, resistant to challenges. I like being comfortable. And that's all of us, right? The truth is, our mind is designed for comfort. It's designed to find the path of least resistance. That's all of us. Our minds are wired in a way that it seeks pleasure, the thing that feels good. That's why it's a challenge for us when we want to lose weight, because your mind is going to say, your brain is going to say, listen, I like it just the way that it is. All 350 pounds, all 450 pounds, all 550 pounds. Shout out to Jelly Roll. I saw that he lost over 250 pounds. He weighed 500 pounds. He lost half of his weight. That's what I'm talking about. Go, Jelly Roll. Let's go. So what about the rest of us? What are we going to do? How are we going to drastically transform our lives so that we do not have a repeat of 2025? And even if 25 was a good year for you, made some good money, met some good people, it's not over, because if you decide to just pull to the side of the road and just chill out and do nothing, guess what's coming? Entropy. And entropy, as I said earlier, entropy says anything left to itself will eventually begin to decay and die. So there's no such thing as just mocking time and staying still. And I'm not going to try this. I'm not going to challenge that. I'm just going to stay right where I am. There's no such thing. Even the scripture says, I'd rather you be hot or cold, because lukewarm doesn't even taste good to God. And he's a merciful God. But he says, if you're lukewarm, I'll spew you out of my mouth. That's not to say that he doesn't love you. It's simply giving you a warning that if you do not take action to change your life, nothing will change, and everything will begin to decline or to decay. Entropy, look it up. You can Google it. You can look it up. Entropy and inertia, two most important, two powerful forces. These are laws that are in the earth today that impacts the quality of every person in the planet, just like the law of gravity. What goes up must come down. There's no negotiating. Even the shuttles that we have that takes off and goes to the space station, and they can stay there for as long as they want. But eventually, guess what? They got to come right back down. That's the law of gravity, the law of inertia, the law of entropy. These are laws that are inextricably established in the earth, and they will not change, no matter how you feel about it, and no matter how badly you wish it wasn't that way. But I got good news for you. But before I give you the good news, I got to give you some challenges here, okay? I want to give you 7 reasons. Now, I may not get to all 7 in this particular video, but I want to give you 7 points. I'm going to give you those 7 points at the top. So if I don't get to elaborate on all 7, you'll at least have these 7 things, these 7 reasons why most New Year's resolutions do fail. They fail because they don't do this. Number one, if you try to change your behavior without changing your identity, then that's going to cause you to eventually run into a place where you're going to get tired of trying to do something that you don't really believe that it's, number one, is for you, or number 2, that you're trying to do something that you saw someone else do that is not uniquely who you are. So one of the number 1 reasons New Year's resolutions fail is because they're trying to change from without. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you know I'm huge on mindset, talking about your mindset, your disposition, your paradigm. If that paradigm doesn't shift, it doesn't matter what happens with the physical body if the inner workings have not changed. Okay, so number 1, people try to change behavior without changing their identity. You've got to become something that you're currently not. I'm not saying that you got to be fraudulent. I'm saying you've got to change something about yourself in order to have a different year this year than you had last year. Because if you're the same person that you were in 2025, then you're going to simply get what you got in 2025. That makes sense, right? All right. Number 2, motivation. The misconception of motivation is that we think being motivated is a strategy. Motivation is not a strategy, okay? Motivation is not a strategy. Motivation is temporary, so that it gets you excited, it gets you riled up, it gets your juices flowing, but you have to go on to develop a strategy on how to use that motivation. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Now, here's the other thing. People underestimate emotional resistance. The emotional resistance, I said this before, our brain is wired for comfort. Nobody's brain is ever going to tell them, hey, why don't you get up and enjoy and go out into the gym and work out and lift weights and get on the treadmill. You need to run for 5 miles. Most people's brain don't operate that way. We have to decide to do that. Okay? If left to our emotions wax and wane. You can't rely upon your emotions if you don't, let's put it this way. If you do not understand how to harness your emotions and tell your emotions how to feel, and you can literally do that. If you've ever changed your mind about a circumstance, a situation, or an idea, then you can change your emotions. Now, it takes work, obviously, but you can do it. All right. Number 4, if your resolution is too vague, it's not clear. If it's not clear, it's not going to survive pressure, the outside pressure that comes with trying to succeed. And let me tell you something, every one of us have to deal with the fact that if you're in motion, the very fact that you are in motion dictates that there's going to be friction. There's going to be challenges. There are going to be people who started with you that won't finish with you. There might even be people who started with you who turned around and started working against you. But if your vision is too vague, if your resolution is not pinpoint accurate, then you run the risk of losing focus. And if you lose focus, you lose direction. All right, let me give you another one. People don't account for spiritual opposition or inner conflict. Spiritual opposition. Now, I invoke the supernatural. I believe that God gets involved in our daily activity to the extent that we allow him to the extent that nothing supernatural happens without the collaborating of God and man. Nothing supernatural happens without the cooperation of God and man. Nothing happens without the collaboration of God and man. So when you talk about the word supernatural, you're talking about a compound word. That compound word tells you that it takes both the super and the natural. Now, I came up in a culture that said that, God does everything for us. If you love the Lord, if you pray and you seek his face and you do all good, go to church on a regular basis, God will do everything. He'll fight your battle. He'll take you to work. He'll put gas in your car. He'll change your oil. He'll do all these sorts of things that God is not necessarily, he didn't really say he would do. Okay. But we will, I believe now, I believe that God supernaturally gets involved when we get involved. In other words, if you want that job, if you want that promotion, you got to show up to work on time. And as you do your part and do your job, then God gets involved to the extent that he gives you favor with your manager, your supervisor, or your corporate head or whatever, and gives you favor so that you get the promotion. But again, this supernatural Introduction doesn't happen without you. I got to show up. You have to show up in order for God to show up. Why? Because God is in you, working through you as you. Okay? He's not going to work unilaterally. He's not going to arbitrarily just jump in, take over, and just work everything out for you. You have to participate in the process. All right, moving on. Number 6, rely on, this is one of the reasons that resolutions fail. They rely on willpower instead of environment. Oh, that's big. So you're going to have to recognize you can't hang around people who have a scarcity mindset and expect to prosper, because that scarcity mindset, the Bible says that a companion of fools will be destroyed. So you will become the people you hang around. You hang around the wise, and guess what? You will become wise as well. You hang around foolish people, guess what happens? You will become foolish. Or you hang around broke people who have a broke mentality. If you hang around 5 broke folks, if you just hang around 5 broke people, guess who's going to be the number 6? It's going to be you. Okay? All right. So hopefully I'm not talking too matter of fact and too blunt for you, but let's go into this. And I'm going to go back to number 1. Number 1 reason why resolutions fail. Number 1, most resolutions fail because they focus on what they'll do instead of who they'll become. That part, that's good right there. I like that. Most people focus on doing. What do I have to do to become successful? And yes, there is an element of doing that is required. But most people, they focus on the doing and not the becoming. And in one of my earlier videos, you can check it out on my channel, I talk about how to become rich before you become rich. You have to literally become rich before you become rich. You have to think as a rich person. You have to move and operate as a rich person. Even if you have no money in the bank, have no savings, your prosperity does not begin at the bank. That's the number 1 thing I want you to grasp. If you don't get anything on this video, if you don't get anything else, remember, your prosperity does not begin at the bank. Prosperity begins in the mind. As a man thinketh, so is he. If you believe it, you will receive it. If you believe it in your mind, you'll receive it in your life. Okay? So your mindset, you've heard me say this before, your mindset affects your assets. You can't expect to prosper if you're not making money moves. That doesn't mean you go out and rob a bank. It means that I have to find something. Maybe you're already at a 9-to-5. So I don't want to have to take on another 9-to-5 job and work 16 hours a day just to barely make it. I need to find a vehicle that will allow me to work my 9-to-5 and then do this as a side hustle with the potential to grow to an extent that it will replace my 9-to-5. You've got to, it's about, again, you've got to take on this mentality. I've got to expect, I got to know, I got to find something that gives me the ability to earn an income beyond my 9-to-5 that will ultimately replace my 9-to-5. Most people don't want to do that because it takes effort. They'd rather go home, watch reality TV. They'd rather go home, play games, whatever, and then just live their life and hope things will work out for them. And you have a right to do whatever you want to do as long as it doesn't interfere with others. But again, it doesn't happen by osmosis. You have to make the qualitative change in your mind that says, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be that now. I've said it before in earlier videos, how that the founding fathers of the United States, the founding fathers, and again, I have my own concept of American history, but That's for another video. But what it has been said is that the founding fathers did not believe in the new land. They believed from the new land. That's what inspired them to jump on boats and ships and sail for 30, 40, 50 days, 2, maybe 3 months. I don't know how long it took to get across the Atlantic, but they were willing to do it because they were already in the new land. They were already there. So that's how you and I have to develop this mentality that we are already what we desire to be. We are already what we desire to become. I call it the be, do, have. If you be what you desire to be, then you'll be willing to do so that you can begin to have. The be, do, have. You must be it first, do the things that are necessary to be that so that you can have the things that you desire. How about going on vacation to wherever you want to go, when you want to go, and to stay as long as you want to stay and come back whenever you want to? Now, does that mean anything? What about being able to have an inheritance for your children? How about leaving an inheritance and not an invoice, so that when you pass away, you leave an inheritance that your children don't have to worry about how they're going to bury you because you left them well off? Or how about, just speaking of children, how about having such an income that you can spend more time with your family and your children, your spouse, your children, your cousins? You can do what you want to do. So you got to develop this mental disposition that says, I can see myself spending more time with my family, with my wife, my kids, my relatives, being able to go on wonderful vacations, stay as long as I want, and don't have to worry about getting back by a certain time because my job says I have to be back. Nothing wrong with having a job. I consider a job actually being a source for investment. It gives you a certain resource so that you can utilize that resource to leverage towards the thing that you really want. Okay? So that's how it works. Okay. Hopefully you're getting something out of this that it'll give you, something that you can stand on for this new year. So if you're talking about, I'm going to work out, or I'm going to save money, or I'm going to pray more, be that before you do that. Maybe you should spend the first week to maybe 30 days just mentally seeing yourself doing the things that you desire to do, whether it's working out, whether it's saving money, whether it's praying more, fasting more, whatever it is you want to do. Start mentally building a picture in your, as Neville Goddard says, in your divine imagination. Because if you can see it in your imagination, then you can see it in your natural life. Everything that becomes natural, physical, everything. That's this phone, that's my tablet, that's this desk that I'm sitting at, this chair that I'm sitting in. Everything starts in the invisible first, and then it shows up in the physical. Every invention, every idea, everything that you see in this natural world started in the unseen world. So again, that just underscored the very necessity of us just starting to dream again. Some of us have been we settled into a routine of barely making it. We settled into a routine of having just enough. We settled into a routine of not having enough. And we stopped dreaming. So in this video, I'm challenging you to dream again. Dream again. No matter how difficult 2025 may have been for you, just dare to dream again. Because again, nothing's going to happen or transpire in the physical until it happens in the spirit of your mind, in the invisible realm, in your imagination. That's why I want to challenge you to dream again. I want to challenge you to begin to imagine yourself being, doing, and having the things that you wish to be, do, and have. But that's the sequence. You must be it first. Don't run out and try to be that today in the physical until you settled it in the mental. Settle it in your mind that I am going to start my own business. I am going not only to I'm going to identify what that business is going to be. Now I do have offers that I make available to my followers in terms of how to harness the power of the internet and become a digital CEO. The information is in the description to show you how you can do this in your spare time. And so you don't have to take on another 8-hour job to try to get ahead when here's an opportunity that allows you to leverage the internet and digital space so that you can, again, create. If you have a product, if you have a service, if you have a brand, a business, perhaps you have a brick and mortar business, then it'll give you the opportunity to expand and grow that and scale that so that it replaces your job. That's the whole idea. So, but behavior is downstream of identity. So doing is downstream of being. You must be it first and do it next. Okay. So if someone sees themselves as undisciplined, broke, or unlucky, the old identity will eventually overpower the new. Okay. So try it. Okay. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your self-identity, your self-image. All right. I don't have time. Like this is why I had to give you those 7 principles up front, because I can see right now I'm not going to be able to do all 7. I'm very passionate about helping people to understand that. Why? Because it's helped me. It's helped me to shake out of almost a hypnotic trance of how I thought, because I grew up in such a religious environment. I thought that God was just going to, arbitrarily just bless me with everything. All I got to do is be kind, treat people the way I want to be treated, and God is going to supernaturally bless me with abundance. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. I thought I was going to have a new way of talking, a new way of walking. Favor is just going to run me down without me doing anything. That's the part I want to get across to you today. You've got to do something. You have to participate with God. Okay? That's just a reality. I've tried it, trust me. If I could do it, where if I can just sit home and, all right, God, go ahead and bless me, bring money to my front door, bring money to my bank account, let it magically show up. Trust me, I would have had billions by now, because it just doesn't work that way without our participation. All right, let me give you one more, and then I'll let you go for this video. Motivation is, well, I don't know if I want to do that. That's a good one. I talked about motivation. You got to be motivated. You've got to be motivated, but motivated or motivation is temporary. It's just temporary, okay? It's going to get you off of your seat of do nothing, but it's going to run out eventually if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have structure, okay? Motivation is emotional, but it's temporary. It depends on your mood. If I feel like working out, then I'm going to go. I did not feel like working out this morning. I literally was in my bed and I was talking to myself. Get up, Mike. It's time to get up. Because I took the Christmas holiday off. And so I usually run for 3 miles every morning. Get out of bed, go walking or running. 3 miles. Didn't feel up to it this morning. My motivation was low. You know what kicked in? I don't want to have another heart attack. I don't want to have high blood pressure. And I want to make sure I not only exercise, but eat right, because I want to be here for you, for my family, So needless to say, I got out of bed and went to work. All right. So motivation works, but it's only temporary. Okay. You got to build a system. You got to build a rhythm. That's why as a musician, as a creative, I know the challenge is for us, the challenge is getting into a systematic routine, that we do the same things routinely, because as creatives, we operate on inspiration. I would much rather be inspired than to be rudimentary. I would much rather be inspired. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I want to conceptualize it because God's downloaded it to me. And all I got to do is map it out, write it out. As a musician, I create the song. As an architect, I create the design because I'm inspired. I would much rather, but guess what? There's something to be said about structure, routine. There's something to be said about building a structure, a routine that's pointed towards the direction of where you want to go. Okay? Don't be haphazard. All right. All right. I think I'm going to have to pause because I'm out of time. Maybe I'll pick this up part 2. I'll do a part 2 next week. Okay? I'll give you part 2. I'll make that commitment to you and continue. If you got anything out of this video, I would love to hear from you. Let me know about it. Put it in the chat or write to me. The information is in the description below. But if for no other reason, make sure you go back, watch the video, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, please. Okay? It helps me grow. It helps me grow this channel. I want to grow this to see exactly how great and how big we can grow this channel. But I want to appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure that you click the like button, click the subscription button, and share. I've got more coming. I promise. I make this commitment. I'm coming back next week. We're going to give you a little more of tips and techniques that you're going to need for the new year 2026. I promise you it's going to be powerful. All right? Tell a friend, tune in till our next broadcast. I'll see you then. All right? Be blessed.